Vincent, there's been a long-running dispute now between the European Commission and Gazprom over its alleged sort of abuse of its monopoly within Europe and its energy supplies. There's been a development today. What is that exactly?
Well, what has happened today is that Joachim Almunia, the European Competition Commissioner, has come out and said that the European Commission is getting very close to what it calls a statement of objections over Gazprom's market conduct in relation to Central and Eastern Europe. We all know that Gazprom is the sort of monopoly Russian exporter of gas. Europe as a whole is a very large customer of Gazprom. 25% of Europe's gas comes from Gazprom. But 100% of gas goes from Gazprom to some of the countries in Central Europe, the smaller ones in particular. And the Commission thinks that Gazprom has just been throwing its weight around in that region for too long, overcharging, etc., and it wants it to stop.
Do you think it has an argument? Do you think the European Commission has a good argument here that it can win on this?
Well, I think we all know that Gazprom is a very aggressive player. I mean, it has kicked around Ukraine on a couple of occasions, and some of the smaller EU member states, like the Baltic states, for example, are completely dependent on Gazprom for all of their gas imports, and it's very easy to take advantage of them. And the gas market is not very transparent, and when you have such a big player as Gazprom, then it becomes even less transparent. So I think that there's definitely a case for investigating, there's no love lost between Brussels and Gazprom.
Quite. And then what are the magnitude of the fines we're talking about, and is this something that's really going to hurt Gazprom?
Well, Gazprom could be fined 10% of its annual revenue. Gazprom had $150 billion of revenue last year, so the fine is pretty substantial. But I think it's highly unlikely that things will come to that pass. The Commission has a lot of teeth in these kinds of investigations, and it tends to, stand its ground and insist on full compliance with what it asks for. But the fines are relatively modest in the end. Let's say Gazprom is fined €1 billion. It's still a fairly big hit for Gazprom because it has an awful lot of spending commitments otherwise. If it has to pay a fine to Brussels, something else within its spending is going to have to be cut.
Okay, so overall it looks like Gazprom is going to have to cough up a fine, and that could hurt Gazprom shareholders in the long run. Thanks, Vincent.